Hello, everyone, and welcome to 1v1 with Boss Rush Games. I'm your host, Celeste Roberts. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Austin Campbell, a podcaster on LAN Party, Crossroads, a PlayStation podcast, Trash Talk, and Short-Sighted Cinema. He is also part of Latruo and Martyr's Cry. And I had to ask him how to pronounce Latruo before we started recording.
Everyone does.
Well, Austin, thank you for making time on the last day of 2020 to do your 1v1.
Hey, I mean, no time like the present. So, might as well, let's end 2020 with a good note, I'd say.
I think so. Are you looking forward to 2021? Or are you someone who looks forward to the next year?
No, I don't. It's another day for me personally, but I understand that a lot of people just need this day to happen. I just hope that they also don't get really disappointed at the same time. Like, to me, if with 2021, it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a new year. No, I mean it could be worse. It could be much worse, you know. So, but it could be better. And I think everyone needs hope, and so if that is your hope, is that New Year's Day happens, I'm all for it. Go ahead. But for me, it's another day. It's another.
Yeah.
It is an off day of work, though.
That is awesome. That's a plus.
Yeah.
So do you and your wife and or family have any special traditions for New Year?
No. I don't think I've ever had an actual tradition, because every year I've done something different. So me and my wife have been together now for 3 New Years, 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, 3. And I think we've done something different every time. Sometimes we'll have friends over, just play Mario Party and stuff like that. This year we're going to eat dinner with my grandparents, and that's it. So, and then we're just coming home and watching movies. So, oh yeah, last year my wife was dying. She got majorly sick last year. I remember that now. Yeah, she had a stomach virus and stuff like that on New Year's Eve. I do remember that. So we stayed home last year too, but
Oh, I'm so sorry. Poor thing.
but as a kid, I enjoyed it a lot more because my parents went to church and stuff, and so we had all of our friends got together at it's called the Family Life Center. It was a basketball court, and everyone just sat around and played games and ran around, played basketball till 2:30 in the morning, and it was a lot of fun. So that was
Whoa, y'all had energy.
Yeah, we went late. Yeah, we went late at those times. That was the fun times. So yeah, we would be having so much fun that we don't even notice that it's in the new year. And I think that's a good way to tell that's a good New Year's Eve party, is if you look at the clock, you're like, oh, it's 1 o'clock. It's New Year's. Great. And then we go back to party. And so to me, that was the best times.
Were you okay? I know you're a little bit younger than I am, but were you?
Actually, I don't know if I'm that much younger.
I'm 31.
So we were in school at the same time.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask if you were old enough to remember when the year 2000 happened.
Probably not. I honestly, I remember certain things family wise, but the earliest, I don't know what you're about to discuss, but the earliest news event that I remember as a kid was sadly 9/11. That was the earliest.
Oh, yeah.
So before that, I don't remember really anything except that the Titans lost the Super Bowl in 2000. So.
Oh, is that your team?
Yeah, that is my team. That is the one Super Bowl they went to, and they lost by a yard. I mean, 1 yard. They got tackled on the 1 yard line for the game-winning touchdown. It's one of the most memorable Super Bowls for everyone. It's in history books, but it's not my favorite.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. No, I was just gonna ask if you remembered how people were making kind of a big deal about it becoming the new millennium.
Oh, no. To me, that's when music died. 90s.
So we're a little behind the curtain. Before all of my 1v1s I prepare, a Google document that I share with my interviewee with different topics. And we don't necessarily discuss them all in order. This isn't a test. This isn't a regimented
Yeah.
conversation. But since you brought up music, and I know how passionate you are about music.
Yes. Very
Okay.
passionate.
So you are part of Latruo and Martyr's Cry. And I found that out right before we started recording.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
would you like to discuss these?
Yeah. So these are kind of like, these are passion projects of mine. Me and my friend Aaron have been rapping since, I mean, for fun, I've been rapping since I was probably like 10 years old. But as far as this goes, I think I was a junior and he was a freshman in college. And we had just kind of became friends the year before. I was friends with his little brother actually for the longest time. And we both found out we were the only people in our youth group that liked rap, because like rap was kind of frowned upon. That's not a Christian music or whatever. And I was like, even though there was Christian artists, they were like, yeah, it's not really Christian. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Have they never heard of Grits? I think is one.
Yeah, yeah, Grits and like Lecrae, and they're like, no, it's not, like whatever. And so, we found out we both like rap, and our youth pastor actually was like, hey, why don't you make some rap songs? Like, he was one of the ones that was kind of for it. And so we're like, all right, we'll do it. And so we came out with one song, and it had like a bit with the regular show in it. I don't know if you've ever seen the regular show at all, but
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it had something to do with that, and we kind of did it, and we kind of showed people it, and they're like, actually, this is kind of good. And I was like, well, maybe we'll do another one. And then we did more, and then we did 2 mixtapes, and we have an album out. And so we did all those, and then now we're working on another mixtape, but this is kind of where it transfers to Martyr's Cry, which is going to be our rock album. It's still going to be rap, but it's going to be more rock focused and metal focused. And that is the one that we're really working on now, because our mixtape is done. It just needs cover art. That's the one thing we're waiting on. So once we do that, it'll be out. So it could be out in the next month or two, really. But then our Martyr's Cry, which is our album, which we're going to get professionally done. We're trying to save money for it. We're trying to get in a studio and stuff like that. So it's going to be a big production, biggest production we've done. So
I didn't know this about you, Austin. That's awesome.
Yeah. I have no instrument capabilities. I have not. I had guitar. I have one guitar lesson. My parents, I always wanted to play guitar, and my parents like really just couldn't afford it. So they just like, well, and then one of my youth pastors at one time was like, I'll teach you how to play guitar. I was like, he's like, we need a bass player. And if you're willing, I'll teach you. I'm like, okay. So we had one guitar lesson, and I practiced every day for like 2 weeks, and I never got a second guitar lesson with him. Like, but I just practiced and practiced. So I know how to play some chords, but as far as like continuing to grow, it was like, and then also I lived in the middle of nowhere, so there was no like internet capabilities. So I couldn't get on YouTube and learn more. It was just kind of like I was stuck at that point. So I ended up not playing. But I thought about picking it back up maybe one of these days, but because doing this album actually got me really more into like playing guitar and bass and stuff like that, because the bass is my favorite instrument. It's my favorite instrument. And one of my favorite bands is actually just bass, piano, and drums. That's all they play.
What
Like
band is that?
Yeah, they don't play guitar. Ben Folds 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they play bass, piano, drums, and that's it. And that's actually one of my favorite bands of all time, because those are my 3 favorite instruments for people to play. And so, but yeah, but Martyr's Cry is going to be metal rap album. Really, really looking forward to that one. And the lyrics I think are probably the best lyrics I've ever done. So I'm excited about it.
I can see you beaming. If you guys are watching the YouTube video, Austin is he's glowing. And if you're not watching the YouTube video, you should.
Yeah, I'm really giddy about music. I tell everyone that like my 3 loves are music, football, and video games. Those are my 3. I don't. Oh, yes, my wife. She's staring at me. I meant, entertainment wise. Not that my wife's not also entertaining, but with her puns.
So what is it about the bass that you love so much? Because I don't want to say there's a division between guitar and bass players, but just over my lifetime, whenever people talk about learning bass, they seem so passionate about it. What is
Yeah.
it about the bass?
I think there's just I think bass, for one, bass also gets always put in the background. It's always, but it's what gets the band going. You know, the drums and the bass are really the two key instruments that are like setting the pace for all the music. You know, they're the ones that are making sure the band stays in line. And then with the bass, it's like, I don't know, something's more soulful about it to me. The guitar, I mean, you can get crazy with guitar, but like nothing beats a good just bass line because it's simple and yet it's beautiful at the same time. And personally, like I've met a lot of different bands and stuff, and from really popular to not that popular, and the bass players I always connect with, like just as a human being as well. As like they're just more chill, they're more relaxed. They're usually pretty like humble about everything. And so something about that, like I just always connected with bass players as well. And so I don't know. I can't even explain it, but every time I love the bass. I look for bass at almost every song. And not like dubstep bass, which is also fun too, but like just the actual acoustic bass is my favorite.
Oh, whenever I think of bass, I think of the upright bass for jazz.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
so
Yes.
cool. It's so
Yeah.
good.
I knew someone who could play that, and that was also one of my favorite I don't know if you remember it in School of Rock, the bass player. Yeah.
Oh,
I was
I
like,
didn't
oh,
know
yeah.
that.
They would play the upright bass and then they went to the bass guitar. Yeah, that was my favorite.
So what are some of your favorite genres? Or you seem like you're pretty open to a lot of genres of music.
I'm open to pretty much everything except country. I'm coming around. So here, I say that, but country is like, it really depends. So I like Chris Stapleton. I like kind of bluesy folk. I like folk a lot, and I actually like bluegrass. It's the classic like cowboy with guitar singing, just drowning out every note and dragging every note and singing about his girl and stuff like. I'm like, I'm over this. That's the only country I don't get down with. But I can enjoy some stuff. Some stuff, you know.
I like the classic country like Patsy Cline. I don't
I
know if
don't
you.
know.
That's okay. That's okay. My mom listened to her a lot. Very.
Mm,
It sounds more like classic Western. It doesn't like when I first learned it was country. I was kind of blown away because
yeah,
when I was growing up, it was Alan Jackson and Garth Brooks
yeah, I know
were the
those
big
people.
ones at
I've
the
actually
time.
met Garth Brooks.
You did?
He lives in the same town that my wife actually grew up in, and his town is like 25 minutes away from us, basically. And I've actually met his daughters and stuff like that at different like Owasso. They live in Owasso school. They went to Owasso school, so I knew
Oh,
people and they knew people. So yeah, I've seen him at grocery stores. I've seen it. What's his wife's name?
is it
Trisha
Trisha
Yearwood.
Yearwood? I think.
Yeah, I've seen his wife at like grocery stores before and stuff like that. So that's one of the names where like, man, I love Garth Brooks. I'm like, he's all right. It's just because I've seen him around. It's like it's not that big of a deal.
Celebrities, they're just like us.
Yeah. Whereas if people in LA are like, oh, I saw Dwayne the Rock Johnson, that was cool. I guess I'm like, I would have been freaking out. I would have been ecstatic. So
So people don't flock to Garth and his wife at the store. They kind of leave him alone.
I think most people leave him alone, especially in Owasso. It's like they're kind of part of the community, so it's not like they're it's not like they're really. Now I'm sure if he went to like Oklahoma City or if he went to Texas, maybe it'd be a bigger deal. But as far as Owasso, he's just kind of, they go to the school functions and stuff like that, so it's like whatever. So
Do you think if you were a celebrity on that scale, you would adore all of the attention, or do you think you'd get tired
no,
of it?
I hate it. I would hate it so much. I've thought about this and like I've I live in a small under 1,000 square foot house. Like if I ever got like rich and famous, I would stay in this house and I would make sure no one fights me. Like the only thing I would pay for is like private security to make sure no one comes around. Just don't stand in front of that house, but just kind of keep your eye out. I don't want people coming around here. So, but no, I would hate it. I think, and maybe that's like, well, you've never been in that position. Maybe I would love it as soon as I got there, but I have a feeling I would not like people chasing me down the streets. So
Yeah, you wouldn't want some obsessive fan. Like
yeah.
I've done local plays around here before, and people have recognized me, and it feels kind of cool. I mean, they're not swarming asking for my autograph by any stretch of the imagination for community
Yeah.
theater, but it is kind of cool to be like, you look so familiar. Oh, you were in that play. So maybe with
I,
Latruo
did, I
and
didn't
what?
know you did theater.
I've been in 7 plays around here.
Mm,
I started on a whim in 2014, but I haven't done one since 2018.
mm,
Just last year we had a lot of people in my family who were sick, and some passed away, and then of course COVID happened. So I don't think
right.
theater is the best. A little intimate.
Did you go to school for it, or
No,
no,
I
you just
haven't.
kind of picked it up?
I just decided to do it on a whim. Like I saw there were auditions after I saw another play, and I was like, "Yeah, why not?"
Hey, it's all gonna start somewhere. You just gotta take that first step.
I will tell you though, it's really fun, but it is a lot of work.
Really.
Well, I
So
mean, when you're working and stuff too.
yeah. Is it like physically exhausting or is it like mentally exhausting more?
Kind of both. Have you ever done a play before
Yeah.
or
Well,
anything?
in fifth grade, but no
That
big
counts.
production.
That counts. It's okay. Have you ever heard of Arsenic and Old Lace? That's a popular one.
Mm,
Oh, you
mm.
would like it with your morbid humor. These old ladies
Oh, okay, sweet.
they mercy kill people.
I will be anything with morbid humor. I'm pretty
You
much
would
down.
love. Oh, they have a movie of it with Cary Grant. Yeah, it's
I
okay. So go ahead.
I was gonna say I know we're both fans of Anthony Jeselnik, so I
Oh
know
my
that.
God. Yes. Oh, I love that he just says anything. Whatever comes
Oh yeah,
to his mind. And I
yeah.
don't want, oh man, I've seen him live. Have you ever seen him before?
No, I've never seen him live. He's never even come near to Oklahoma, and I'm pretty sure he would never sniff Oklahoma air if he had
I
a choice.
bet he would.
Yeah.
He went to Tulane University in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, yeah. Him and I don't know if you listened to his podcast. Him and Greg Rosenthal.
Mm.
Um, Greg is a NFL analyst, NFL sports writer, and they went to school together in Tulane, and now they have a podcast together, which is my favorite sports podcast. But they don't talk about sports that often. So
Anthony's from like Pittsburgh or Philadelphia.
yeah, he's from Pittsburgh. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, if you ever want to do a play, it's fun. It is so much fun. It's just I go to work for 7 a.m. and you go to work even earlier than I do. So
That's cool. Yeah.
so
I go to work at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. So
yeah, that's
yeah.
it's so much fun because you make memories and you feel confident, and the audience's reactions keep you going. But like performances last sometimes till 10 o'clock at night, and then you got to go home, wind down. But
I Have you ever been like a main person? Like, were you the main part of the play?
I have, yeah, I have
Yeah.
been. I have
Okay.
been.
That's got to be daunting when the whole play rides on you.
um, no, this might be TMI, but have you ever heard of the movie and/or play Calendar Girls?
No, I haven't. But I
Okay.
haven't seen very many plays, so me
Okay.
not knowing that doesn't mean much.
It's a very sweet. It's very sweet, but I had to pose like I was for a calendar. It's all very much in good taste, but I had to hold honey buns in front of me and
uh,
pose in front of desserts.
uh,
So it stretches your comfort zone a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Do you
I imagine you gotta like broaden your mind and just be like, all right, I gotta do this. Like you gotta just hunker down and do it. But it works out. Like that kind of stuff is memorable, though. That's the stuff that makes a play memorable. If you didn't do that stuff, it would be boring and no one would show up.
Exactly.
So,
You're kind of on autopilot after a while.
mhm.
Well, do you think you'd ever like to perform in anything like that?
I I think I'd be interested because I've been writing different skits and sketches and stuff that I want to do, and that would be technically performing. But I don't know if I would want to do anything where I have to sing in public. That's the other thing I was going to ask. You've never sung it, so it's only just the acting part. It's never been a musical. Okay. Yeah. I like rapping. I do sing, but I do not do it in front of people. I just can't do it. And so if I ever got like where it started booming and I had to perform on stage, I think maybe I can handle that. But as far as like a quiet setting, where like everyone's listening to you, no thank you. No thank you.
Well, if you're writing skits and sketches, do you think you'd like to at least maybe throw them out on YouTube or something?
Yeah, and I think that's what I will probably end up doing if I do anything with them. But there's and I also write a ton of bad stuff, like, and not bad as in evil, bad as in like and my Twitter is like a perfect case for this. I throw the worst jokes out on there just to see if they stick. I just want to see if they stick. So like, I just want to see if they stick. So
I really, I don't know if you want me to bring it up. It was the one about the tweet that was most controversial, and I thought it was hilarious what you said.
Yeah, that people were saying I was racist for.
It was, I thought it was a play on words. I didn't take it.
Yeah. Well, they said it was because it was the Jungle Book, and I was like, I'm talking about the tiger. Like, I don't think that was ever meant to be racist. And it's Shere Khan, Shaka Khan. That's all. And some people I'm not saying that everyone hated on me, but I got two people in particular quote tweeted it and said, look at this, racist, look at the whites again, common Twitter thing. And then, their fans jumped on me. I was like, oh, no, I can't do this.
Did you get doxxed?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that means like, are you talking about like banned or
Twitter
jailed?
That's when people start finding out your personal information so they can hurt you.
No. Good luck finding my personal information. If it's not on Twitter, you're not gonna find me anywhere else. I don't get on anywhere else.
See, I thought it was funny because the names are so close together.
Yeah.
And I think people are kind of grasping for straws when they're.
Yeah. And I think that may have been a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And that was the only thing I could think of that I was just like, I got like, and that was the last out of all the jokes I've made. That's definitely the one that I didn't think would get me the most flack. I've said a lot worse, a lot worse. So.
Oh, gosh, like I know we keep going on tangents, but I love it. That's the whole point of these one-on-ones. But I have to. Let me know if you ever get in this mindset. Sometimes it feels like social media is the world, if that makes any sense. Sometimes you really have to step back and realize that in real life, most people are not this way. Most people don't act this way. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that's kind of one thing that I've kind of broken down in the last year. Like that's one thing that's like really changed this year is I've just gotten off a lot of social media. I don't do Instagram, I don't do Facebook, I don't do Snapchat, I don't do whatever else is out there. I don't even do Reddit anymore, and that was another one I really liked, but it got so toxic like everywhere that I was like, I'm just going to do Twitter because that's the one I enjoy the most anyway. And then I get on Facebook to look specifically at my wife's posts and like my mom's posts and stuff like family and stuff. And then I get off, and I only do it on my laptop. I don't do it on my phone. That's the other thing. Doing social media on your laptop is way better because it makes it less convenient for you to stay on your phone and just scroll. And so, but yeah, I think a lot of people think like, there's so many people with like fake accounts and second accounts that'll just spam hate all over. And it's like, Yeah, those are how most people are at, but not everyone's like that. And if you think about it, like, I don't know what the number is, but if you looked up how many Twitter follower or Twitter people are on Twitter and people on Facebook, it's still probably less than a certain amount of percentage on in the world. There's all these good people out there that don't use that stuff. So I think you just gotta look at the upsides of it sometimes. And really, that's the other thing I started doing is like encouraging people on Twitter and encouraging people liking the good stuff, not liking the bad stuff. Don't get in conflicts. Instead, encourage people and stuff like that. And so that's another thing that I'm working on. Trying to, if I can't change Twitter, and how toxic it is, I can at least change my account. I can change my account and make it that way. So, but
I think a lot of people, and I used to be this way when I was younger and felt like my opinion mattered more. It really did.
Yeah.
You don't have to engage. You don't have to comment on something. If something bothers you, ask yourself, is it worth it? Is this worth my time and energy?
Yeah. And most of the time it's not. 99% of the time it's not. It's kind of, yeah.
Well, you are very encouraging, Austin. I do notice you listen to pretty much every episode of people's podcasts. You're always shouting out people, raising them up. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm not supposed to be listening to podcasts at work, but I do anyway. So I have a lot of time to listen to podcasts and stuff like that. And so I really try to get into everyone that I can. I don't catch up with everyone. I have to delete episodes because it bothers me if I have 1,000 podcasts in my feed. I'm like, no, I can't do that. So I have to delete some. I have to skip some, but I try to get to everybody here and there. And I really do enjoy a lot of these. It's not like I'm trying to, I told Corey, the other day, like, I think RSLX is the best Xbox podcast that I listen to. I truly believe that, and I wouldn't tell you otherwise. So when I give you a compliment, I really mean it. I really mean it. It's like interesting. So like, your interview with Jesse, I thought that was really good. And then Aaron Grubb, that was another one that I really like. So that kind of stuff is what, I really try to encourage as much as I can and listen to as many people as I can.
Well, thank you. And it is really hard to listen to everybody's content. I have so many podcasts I follow.
Yeah.
And I have so little time.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is, as long as you are I think support means more than a listen, So like, if I'm supporting you, I'm giving you shout outs, I'm telling you that, hey, this podcast is really good, but I can only listen to like half your episodes. That, I think that means more than listening to every episode and not having time to do anything and just like blowing through it and not really, taking it in either. So.
Yeah. Well, I want to circle back to your, what is it, that office bingo card, take a shot every time someone says circle back. I can't believe
I will say I am the worst at tangents. This is why LAN Party is the way it is. I mean, Logan might take some of the blame, but I really am the one that is just scatterbrained. That's why I get on so many podcasts. It's why I can't commit to a show or a video game. And it's again, another random tangent. But I'm terrible at it. I am not good at staying on track.
There's nothing wrong. I just didn't want to do a disservice to your music projects because I definitely want people to know more about them. So Latruo, that is the band?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the more rap hip hop focused band. Martyr's Cry is the more rock metal rap focused. Okay. And Latruo you can actually find on Spotify. It's Latreuo. You can actually find the album on Spotify. The mixtapes are all on like YouTube and DatPiff and wherever you get your mixtapes at.
Very cool. Very cool. And how many people are in each group?
Just two. Just me and my friend Aaron.
For both of them?
Yeah, for both of them. Yeah.
Y'all are very talented.
Yeah, we really wanted to go. Like, we had this name for a while, and then Latruo is great, and we still want to continue it, but it's hard for people to look up. It's hard for people to pronounce. It's hard for, and then we really want to do this more metal focused one. And so we're like, well, let's do a name change. And I mean, we don't have a huge fan base. So we've got recognized once at another Christian rap concert where there was like 20 people inside. So it was definitely like a community of people who knew all the Christian rappers in the Tulsa area. And so we got recognized once, but other than that, it's, mostly friends and family that listen to us and stuff like that. But Martyr's Cry, we really wanted to kind of break the mold and kind of do something different. And it's a little, I think it's a more stickier name. You're gonna remember it. You should know how to spell it. So that's more important, I guess.
Come on, kids. Remember those spelling lessons in school.
Well, yeah, even if you do know spelling lessons in school, if you didn't take, Greek, that's what latruo is, the word latruo. So, and it is Greek for servants in worship.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that was kind of like, and actually our youth pastor gave us that word. He mentioned it in a sermon, and I was like, I kind of like that. I was like, and, because worship can be done in many different ways, but music is a big part of worship. And so we were like, servants, I'm like, that's kind of cool. Let's just do that. And so we did it. And then people were like, how do you spell that? And then when we got recognized, they're like, Latreyo? And I was like, yes and no. So it's one of those things.
That is really neat. Thank you for sharing that, because I never heard of that word.
Yeah, it's Greek. Mm-hmm.
And Martyr's Cry, is that based on anything in particular?
So Martyr's Cry is if for anyone that doesn't know, a martyr is someone who dies for the cause of Christ, who gives their life for the cause of Christ. So it sounded more kind of metalish in our head. That's kind of what we were going for. But we really and when we came up with this concept, and I know religion's kind of a touchy subject, but just for me personally, my religion, my belief really grew this last year in 2020, more than it ever has in my life. So, and it's really changed who I am and made me a better person overall. I think a lot of people can see that if they know me the last 4 or 5 years. So, that was kind of it was kind of resurgence of really committing to what I believe. And that's a big part of it. So, but that's where that name came from. And it sounds metalish, it's people who die, and it's a martyr's cry. It's which is a cry for help, or so it sounds more metalish. So that's it works both ways.
You're not kidding, because I was raised Catholic, and we learned about the saints and stuff, and
yeah,
you kind of don't really, as a kid, you just accept and don't really think about a lot of stuff. But then as I got older and I realized how some of them were martyred, it's like,
yeah,
that's really
if you ever every person who remembers the cheesy Christian songs will know this. What I'm about to say is, if you've never heard the song Jesus Freak, it's fine. It's a fine song. But the book Jesus Freaks, which is based on the song, is really, really good and talks about all the different people who have died for the cause of Christ, being boiled alive and hung upside down, and and just all that stuff. It's insane what people went through. And it's this is a soapbox, but Christians today are talk about, oh, they're trying to cancel us and they're trying to shut us down. No, they're not. They're not boiling you alive. You're okay. you have no idea what this is. You're not getting killed, so it's fine. You're fine.
I would say, especially if you live in the United States of America, you have a lot of privileges when it comes to
a lot. China, I know a missionary, and they're not even allowed to say in emails Christianity or the Bible or anything, because they read them all. They read them all, so they have to say Christ is cake, or they have to use code words and stuff like that. So until we get to that area where that kind of stuff, where they're reading all your emails and stuff, you're not being misused in any way.
Yeah.
So
That reminds me, you bring up a really good point, Austin. Just because someone disagrees with you or doesn't like something does not mean they hate you and does not mean they are persecuting you.
Yeah, yeah. And that means for anything. That's not even Christianity. That's like video games. Like, oh, you don't like Animal Crossing? Well, you're a terrible person. Like, I just
I,
so
I almost, I don't know if cringe is the right word or my heart kind of falls whenever I say, "Oh, I like this game." Okay, for example, Animal Crossing, since you brought it up. If some, I don't want someone to feel the need to apologize. Like, I'm really sorry, but I don't like Animal Crossing. You don't have to apologize to me.
yeah.
There's nothing to be
Mm.
sorry for. I mean, don't
Apologize to yourself. Animal Crossing is a great game. You just
get with the program. But as I mean, as long as you don't start attacking me for liking what I
yeah.
like, just I think people are just so nervous to have civil discourse. That's an art.
Mm.
That is an art form for sure. And uh, I don't know, people. But
Yes, people.
so where can people find Latruo and Martyr's Cry just to make sure that doesn't get lost in the ether?
So yeah, so Latruo, you spell it Latreuo, and you can get it on Spotify. You can get it on Apple Music, anywhere you stream music. The album, at least, the mixtapes are on DatPiff and YouTube. Um, and then Martyr's Cry doesn't have anything out yet, so that's our project that we're working on right now. But I'm putting it out there because I'm speaking it into existence. If I speak it out, now I'm pressured to actually do something about it. But we are working hard on that one. That's the big one.
Can we expect to see you tweet or share any information about these when the time's right?
So the Latruo mixtape, which is going to come out, I hopefully in the next couple months, depending on when we get our cover art, that's going to be, I will be tweeting that out. And Martyr's Cry will be tweeting out, but probably later in the year if that happens. So
Okay, awesome. Because I want to be aware of it. I want to
yeah,
make
I
sure.
will definitely put it out there. I will definitely put it out there. We will not post it on the Latruo Twitter page, which hasn't tweeted in like 3 years. So we won't put it on that page. We'll put it on my page. So
That sounds good to me. Maybe we'll have another a 2v1. What's your
yeah,
friend's name again?
his name is Aaron Oxford, and he is not on anything except
Okay.
Instagram and stuff like that. So if you want to find him, Ox is a Fox 10. I don't know if there's a number after it anymore. I think he got it back to normal. I don't know. I'm not on Instagram, so I have to remember his. But his name is Ox is a Fox for anyone who's interested.
Well, we're gonna have to have a 2v1 with you
Yeah,
guys when the albums are out.
we will definitely have to do that. We'll definitely have to do that.
But you mentioned that you have a lot of interest, and you really do. As I was going through everything you're involved in, and like you alluded
Yeah.
to, how much you love. And I have had the pleasure of being a guest on LAN Party. That was
Yes. And that was a great episode, by the way.
you're just saying that because I'm sitting right here.
No, that was actually a great episode. That was one of our better episodes this year because last night we actually recorded a podcast, which will be going up January 3rd, I guess, next Monday. And we were looking back at all the different episodes we did throughout the year. And there's some ones that were like, I don't even remember those, but we remember, the ones with Celeste and stuff. Like the last Spiel episode was a great episode. I loved it. So
I'm morbid.
and that's really what we want to do with that show is want to have more guests on that show. We believe that it's kind of like 1v1s almost, but we're not talking about anything that you do. We're not here to promote you, We're here to get into your brain and see how, disgusting you are, I guess. Like how
I'm
how perverted
disgusting.
you are. Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, I thought before 2020 adults did not need reminders to wash their hands, but apparently nobody was washing their
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah. So, but we like to have a lot of fun on LAN Party. Logan's kind of the only one that's because me and Nick and Lexa are all part of LAN Party. I've known them for maybe 5 years now, about 5 years. We all worked at Target. So, and if you've ever worked retail, there are special bonds that are made when you work retail. Like it's like those are friends for life because we all know there's certain customers that would come in that we all hated and stuff like that. And so, and the last 2 years that I worked there, we actually all worked on the grocery team together. So that we got even really close there. And then Logan, I met. It'd be maybe about 2 years now. We met through the kind of funny Facebook group when I was on that, and we both have our favorite band is Switchfoot, and so that's how we connected there. And then we played Anthem with me, Logan, and Nick. We played Anthem, and we decided to do a podcast together. And that's kind of how LAN Party started. So all with Anthem, which yeah,
Is that a good game?
It could have been a better game. It could have been a better game we bet on. So, but it's good.
Is it based off the little novella by Ayn Rand, Anthem?
No, it was made by BioWare, the people who made Mass Effect. It was kind of like their destiny. They wanted to be a live service game or whatever, and it wasn't as good as Destiny, and it was fun, but it always crashed, and there wasn't a lot of people playing it. And then they would say that they're going to work on the game, and then they never worked on the game, and then they are going to come back to it. And just go make Mass Effect, okay? Go make Mass Effect and Dragon Age. I'd much rather play those at this point. So
okay, because I actually did Logan's 1v1 2 days ago, and he mentioned Anthem, and I forgot to ask him more about it. So okay, but he kind of had a little face about it when he was talking.
I mean, Anthem is a game that's special because it brought us together. However, it's not a special game. It's not a game that I will ever go back to, probably ever.
Now, for people who, I know the secret because I interviewed Logan, but tell me the meaning behind LAN Party's name.
Oh, so LAN Party is basically just LAN is Logan, Austin, and Nick. I kind of came up with it because I was like, oh, it's LAN, and it could have been Austin, Nick, Logan, but that would be anal. So I don't know if that would have worked any better. So
the anal party.
yeah, anal party. So I don't know if that would have worked. I don't know if that would have been any better. So we went with LAN Party, and then we found out there's a lot of LAN parties, but we are the number one if you look it up. If you look up LAN Party, we're the first one that comes up now. So that's the important thing.
What is your SEO secret?
I don't even know what you just said, to be honest.
What is your search engine optimization secret?
I will tell you this. I think we got more popular when our episode titles changed. And that to weird stuff. To like weird, which Logan comes up with. Once those kind of changed and it stopped being like LAN Party Episode 2, LAN Party Episode 3, that made a whole lot of difference. Which your 1v1s that you already have different names, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't know. I honestly don't know what made the difference, but I do know that our stuff getting more views and stuff whenever we started changing the title names, at least.
Really? That's congratulations. That is no small feat to get recognized on the internet like that. Yeah.
Well, and if you do a Google search, we're not the number one that comes up. I will say that. But if you do it on like podcasts like Spotify or an Apple Podcast, we are the first ones that show up. If you Google it, you're gonna get a lot of actual technical term LAN Party, what it is, and all that stuff. So not quite that big yet.
Because I thought of it. I would have never guessed in a million years that it was your initials, even though it's right there in front of me. I was thinking, oh, the LAN party is like people used to do with Halo back in the day.
I mean, it's kind of like that too, because we met, playing games and stuff. But that was kind of like, and we didn't want my, LAN Party was better than Anal Party. So
I'm not even gonna say what I was thinking. Okay, that would have been an interesting name though. I wonder how many
yeah,
clicks you guys would have gotten.
I actually think that it may have worked. It may have worked. I think maybe Anal Party would have gotten us some likes. I don't know if they would be satisfied with the content because I don't know if it's quite what they were looking for. They're looking for that, but yeah.
I heard there was a disgruntled person who became one of your biggest fans because he or she was kind of berated you guys for not really talking about games.
Oh yeah. Someone Facebook messaged us and said that, is this a podcast actually about LAN parties? And we're like, no, no. What are we going to discuss about LAN parties? Like, what are we, computer nerds? Like, it's just no. Yeah, and we're like, no, we just kind of talk about whatever we want. And the idea is like, kind of like, because I do still sometimes, like, I play games while we're recording the podcast, and that's to kind of get like that feel of like that natural feeling of you're just hanging out playing games together, and you get those random conversations that come in. But we also have to do topics to kind of keep everyone engaged and stuff like that. But that's kind of the point. And so I still play video games when we do that podcast every now and then. Not all the time, because sometimes I'm like tired and I'm like, I better focus on this or I'm not going to pay attention to people. So
Oh, I didn't know you played games
yeah,
usually while the episodes are recording.
yeah. And I have to be like, I have it like where I have my controller like kind of tucked in so you don't hear the clicks, the clicks on the microphone and stuff like that. Because that was one thing that we had at the earlier episodes. Like you could hear me like mashing buttons and stuff like that. So,
Oh, that's amazing. Well,
yeah,
I really, and I'm not just saying this because you're right here. It's really fun. I love conversational podcasts like that.
yeah. Those are my favorite too. Just when you have topics and you just talk about random stuff. And I think some people, like some of my favorite podcasts used to do that, but then they start talking about just kind of like their day and talking about like what they're doing and like because they're famous. I'm like, this is not what I wanted anymore. Like you're not talking about just which taco is the best and all that kind of stuff. Like that's the kind of stuff I like to listen to. So
You guys, I feel like there's this virtual jar of topics, and you guys just,
oh,
what are we going to talk about today?
yeah, pretty much. And I usually like I'll write them down on my phone. Like I get inspired by like different things that pop up and like, oh, that might make it to a topic. So I got like this list of topics that I'll just pull from, and some of them I delete because I'm like, I don't even remember what that's supposed to be. Like, because I'll write it down like 2-3 words. I don't even know what that means anymore, so I like delete it. But usually I just get inspired by like, oh, that would make a weird topic. And I think my favorite topic that I ever like came up with was I made a Mad Lib, my own Mad Lib. Like I wrote it out and stuff like that. And I had Nick and Logan fill in the nouns, adjectives, and verbs and stuff like that. And it was called the erotica under Logan's bed. And so they had no idea what they were getting into and stuff like that. So when I read it back to them the way they did it, it's probably one of the funniest things we've ever done. That's like one episode I highly suggest people watch. So.
Oh my God. Okay, so do you remember the episode title and or number? Because
I might be able to look it up, but it was definitely this year. It was definitely this year. I do know that much. So, because I looked through it last night and we it was like I was like I don't think it got. I had to like think about what that episode was, and then we're like, oh yeah, that's that episode. So.
well, it's okay if you can't think of it now because
Yeah.
it's
I might post it. I might post a link of it on my Twitter later. So I'll do that.
That's your New Year's resolution. Post the most popular episode that you guys did. That's just that. Oh, I love it. And so you do like video games though. That is not anything you're shy
Yes.
about. And
Not shy about it.
You're also part of Crossroads, a PlayStation podcast, which, gosh, how old is that podcast? Not very old.
It's I think we're on episode 20 something. So it's kind of weird because I came in late. I don't actually know the whole history of Crossroads. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but LaRon had it, and I think Nelly was there in the beginning. I think maybe Logan was there at the beginning. I think someone else was there at the beginning, and then that person left, and then Logan brought me on for an episode. And I really liked it. Like I felt I clicked with LaRon and Nelly a lot, and then Logan left. And then it was just me, LaRon, and Nelly, and now it's just kind of like we get random people in there now. So I don't, I don't know the whole history, but I love that show. That's probably my favorite show that I do now. And I was kind of worried because I don't like being on camera. I was like, or I didn't like the idea of being on camera. I'd never really been on camera, and I was like, because then people are gonna see me and like, if I'm yawning, which I yawn a lot, especially when we do podcasts at night, I yawn a lot. So people are going to see me yawn, and they're going to see me like, oh, he's not even paying attention. And he's not even really like, he doesn't want to be here. And I was like worried about all that kind of stuff. But then it's been
Oh no,
really,
Austin!
I always,
It cut out. Skype got mad at me.
oh, Skype get that's okay. Where was I at? I don't
Oh,
know.
you were saying you were nervous people were gonna judge you and think you were engaged because you were yawning.
Oh, yeah. So I was worried about that, but the more that I did it, there you go. I got really just into it, like from episode 1 that I was on, and therefore, and I really want to see that podcast grow. I enjoy it. I've always wanted to do a PlayStation podcast. That is my gaming heritage. So it's just a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And we we all have jobs, we all have obligations. So if you're going to do something with your time, you extra something extra like that, you want to have
Mhm.
fun with it. And you guys seem to have a blast.
Oh yeah, I think we have a lot of fun, and we really try to engage with the chat as much as we can. We talk a lot of crap, talk a lot of crap, and I can't wait for people to listen to this last episode because LaRon and Ed was our host or guest host on there.
Ooh.
And of course, they got to get into it, and it's great. It's great. They actually kept it pretty clean this time. But then towards the end, like everyone was getting kind of tired, and Ron and Ed started going back and forth on stuff, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh man, our those two are so funny.
Yeah, they really need their own show together. Like they just like I just want to see them argue for like 30 minutes. Just a 30-minute argument about whatever.
Like an old married couple, just
Yeah.
going for it.
Like one of my favorite shows is PTI. I don't know if you've heard of Pardon the Interruption. It's two old sports writers. They've been on ESPN together, I think, for like 25 years doing the same show, and they go back and forth. They have really good like chemistry, and they also argue with each other. And it's called Part of the Interruption because they have like 1 minute to debate different topics of all this different stuff. I think Ron and Ed could do that with video games. I feel like that would be a pretty cool show, to be quite honest. But
Oh, I would love that.
yeah.
Is PlayStation your main console?
Yes, it is my main console. I am playing a lot more Nintendo, and this is my first Xbox console, so I am dabbling in that. But PlayStation's always been my main one.
You have a PS5 as well?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
not yet.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get one, but I haven't lucked out on the sweepstakes yet. So
Oh, is that the who's having the sweepstakes right now? Anybody?
no, I mean I don't know anyone that has one. But like I've gotten into like the PlayStation Directs. They always
Mm,
happen while I'm at work, and I'll see like Corey posted on the message. And like 45 minutes ago, I'm like, well, I know I'm out. Like I already know I'm not getting one. So
and you have, but you were able to score an Xbox?
no, I have the Xbox One X.
Oh,
the
okay.
last generation one as well. That was my first Xbox console I'd ever had. So,
Wow. That's
and
awesome.
I am enjoying. I like that it has backwards compatibility. That's what sold me on because now I can play the Xbox games I missed, the Xbox 360 games I missed, and the Xbox One games. So, and I got it for this. Really, I got it for this game called Scalebound, which ended up getting canceled. So,
Are they going to
because
revive it one day?
I don't think so. I think that was kind of the one. It was about having your own pet dragon. It's based around punk rock. I was like, who is in my diary and who who's reading my journal and making my dream game right now? Like I like this is sounds like me. And me and Nick from LAN Party, we were so excited and canceled, and we still cry about it to this day. still,
I'm so
still,
sorry.
but oh well. We got Sunset Overdrive, and that's my game on Xbox. I love that game.
Is that a racing game?
It is. You actually might like it. It's very crude humor, very very crude humor. It's kind of like Ratchet and Clank. It's got like kind of zombie mutants in it. It's punk rock, very punk rock in it. It's like the soundtrack is great if you like punk rock,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just big guns and just no, absolute nonsense. Like everyone turns into zombies because of an energy drink. It's it's very early 2000s era type of thing. So,
Sunset Overdrive. I have never heard of this game.
oh, it's great. The people who made Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man, um, Insomniac, they're the ones that made that game, and it was an Xbox exclusive. So
I love the artwork. It reminds me of Beautiful Joe a little bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm getting those kind of vibes. I love the colors.
yeah.
It's
It's
so
very very colorful, very colorful.
so what have you been playing lately if you've had any time? Just on any console.
Any console. So I'm playing Hades on Nintendo. That's like so. I usually like. There's a kind of a big gap between when I get home and my wife gets home. So that's usually when I play like PlayStation and stuff. But then when she gets home, I like to play like Nintendo on my handheld. That way she can, I'm not hogging the TV or whatever. She says it doesn't matter, but I still feel bad. So in my own mind, so I play a lot of Switch or like I'll read books and stuff while she's watching TV or anything. Or sometimes I'll watch TV with her. Depends on what she's watching. She's watching Drake and Josh, so I end up watching it with her now.
Because
So
it's great.
yeah, it still holds up. It's still a good show. It makes me laugh. So, but yeah, I'm playing Hades. It's my game of the year. I already told Corey that's my game of the year. I really really love that game. I got it for like $10 on sale. I was like, man, I would have paid 40 for this game like easily. Like I really really like this game. But I am a big rogue like player. I like roguelike games, so it really speaks to me. And then I'm playing Fallen Order on PlayStation, and I'm really, really liking that game. Um, when I was kind of like, it's a Star Wars game, and I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, I really like Star Wars, but I'm kind of bummed over the movies and stuff, and so I'm like, But they's like, you get to go to Darth Maul's home planet, Dathomir. And I was like, oh, why didn't anyone tell me this like a year ago? I would have played it. So that's all I needed to know. And I actually finally got to go to that planet now, and I'm like really enjoying it. I can't wait to get back into it. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
It's so what other hobbies do you have besides making music, podcasting, playing games, reading?
So I do some reading. I had a goal last year. I wanted to read a book a month. I wanted to read 12 books this year, and I accomplished that goal. And my wife got me a Kindle this year, so I'm gonna read even more books. My goal is 2 books a month, so 24 books, and I'm really trying to hunker down on those. And so I do books. I don't know if you consider it a hobby, but I do like at least 30 minutes to an hour of Bible study a day, where I'm like taking notes and reading and listening to different stuff. Um, I make music, video games. I mean, I have a dog and a cat, so I golf. I do golf. I didn't get to go very often this year. My brother got really into it, and so I actually got into it with him. And we went every now and then. But then when like the pandemic hit, and I didn't have a job for a little bit, so I was doing DoorDash for a while, and I do DoorDash to make up for like the money that I lost. So I ended up just kind of losing focus all through the summer, and then ended up not really golfing that much. But I do plan on playing a little more this year and getting better at it. I want to like not be mad when I play golf, not hit it in the water 3 or 4 times in a row. I'll have like a really good game of golf. I'll be doing good, and there'll be one hole where I just like hit in the water 4 or 5 times. I want to like throw a club in the water. So.
Oh God, what's your favorite golf video game? If you've played any?
My favorite golf video game, this is going to be really oddly specific, but it's Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2003. It is my favorite golf game. It was on the PS2. I feel like that game had like the most like that was like it had all the technical aspects of playing golf, as far as like what direction you do it, but it was still very simple mechanic wise. And they get really technical with the golf clubs, which Golf Club 2, which is like, or PGA Tour Golf 2K21, which is the new one now, they're very, very technical. You have to aim the stick in the right way. You got to make sure that it's like you can do it 75% and go on instead of just swinging back and swinging forward. That's what it used to be when I was a kid. And then DMX's Party Up in Here was like a song on that.
No.
And
no way.
As a I would have been 7 or 8 years old playing that game when it came out. I took all the other songs off of that except for 2 songs, and that was DMX's What Up in Here and what is that? Blue Side by Rooney. I don't know if you know Rooney. Yeah, those 2 songs, and those are the only 2 songs that I would play back and forth, and I would listen to it as I golfed all the time. And my mom would come in and was like, "Do you listen to this song all day?" And of course, it's a clean version, so she's not totally worried about it, but she's not hearing the explicit version. But yeah, she's like, "Do you listen to this song all day?" I was like, "No, it's just on the golf game." Like, does it know any other songs? I'm like, I don't know, but I did know. I was like, I just changed it to where it only played the 2 songs.
I can't picture golfing to that song.
Oh yeah, and they had a weird thing where it was like horse, but it's called Tiger, and you'd have to hit it on certain greens. Like it was like a giant, like if you've seen like if you've been to like a Top Golf or stuff like that, like it's got like a big hit, so you can like I'm gonna hit it here, and then the next person got to here. My brother and I played that for many times. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You said DMX. Do you want to hear a funny story?
I will take any DMX story.
When Timmy and I first started dating, if I was napping, he would hold up his phone to my ear with X one give it to you to wake me up.
That sounds like something I would have done. I would have
done. Imagine you're just sleeping peacefully and just
yeah.
Oh man, don't tell her that happened. Don't get any ideas. I don't want her to hate me.
I won't tell her that came from you, but I will take this idea. We can blame. You said Robert, right? Or is it what's your boyfriend's name?
Oh, my last name is Roberts, and his name is Timmy.
That's right, Timmy. That's right. Timmy, so I'll just say it's Timmy's fault. Timmy,
yeah, she's gonna be like, Timmy.
Timmy.
Oh, he gets that a lot.
Does he get mad? When he gets that one?
I think because he's heard it his whole entire life.
If he wants to, if I ever said it to him, I'd be like, look, my middle name is Carl. So just I understand.
Like from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
That, but more likely the llamas with hats.
The llamas with hats. Is that
you ever seen that video?
Okay, is that the Unicorn Mountain Charlie?
Well, I don't know about that. I do remember the Charlie Unicorn though. I do remember that. Llamas with hats is about the same time, and it was like this llama that killed people, and his name was Carl. And yeah, they go Carl, and so I got every time. So once someone learned my middle name, everyone knew, and everyone go Carl. I'm like, and so, yeah. I was like, that's not
Oh,
my first name. Why it doesn't count?
oh my God. No, I mean, I think he's just heard it so much, and his real
Yeah.
name is Timmy. It's not Timothy. It is
Oh,
Timmy. It's
okay.
like
Yeah,
not a nickname. Tim or
yeah.
Timmy. You can call him either one, just not Timothy or Timmy. But if he goes to like he's been to Firehouse Subs before, and they ask for your name, and he made the mistake of telling him Timmy instead of Tim, and one of the
Mm.
workers said it like the South Park way. And he just grabbed a sandwich and left.
Although Tim is not really an escapable one either, because Monty Python it'd be like, my name is Tim.
We just need to not have names. We'll just all go
Yeah.
by numbers.
Every name is up for every name's gonna get ruined eventually. So,
Yeah. Oh God.
well, you have an awesome video game on yours, so you might actually be in the clear.
Well, you'd be surprised, Austin. You would be surprised.
Oh wait, is there a Celeste? Is there a Celeste joke?
When
Is
I was in
there?
seventh grade, which is already a terrible time in life,
Yeah.
they put our, you know how like on a bulletin board they'll put your name and your last name's initial or something, so it said Celeste
Mhm.
R, and some doofus was like Celester. That
Celeste.
rhymes with molester.
Oh, yeah. See, before you even said it, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. Because I was that kid in seventh grade.
Oh yeah, like if someone did it to me now, I'd be like, okay, whatever, you're
I'd be
hilarious.
like,
And
how old are you?
yeah, but when you're in seventh grade, everything feels like a
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah.
Uh, Okay, I'm gonna call you Austin instead of Carl though,
That's good.
not
That's
Carl.
good.
I was about to do the voice that he does in Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You'll fry man.
You'll find me.
Well,
I love Eat-Wad.
I
Eat-Wad's my favorite. When
I, I love him.
when HBO Max came out, and I was like, man, I don't need another streaming service. And they're like, all the South Park episodes and all the Aqua Teen Hunger Force episodes are on it. I'm like, thanks. Now I gotta get it.
Do you have any favorite episodes of either of those shows?
So my favorite episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force is any episode with the Moonanites on it. I love the Moonanites. Those are my favorites. I forget their names, but I love the little pink one that's just like, yeah, it starts yelling. Um and then South Park, there's just so many to name. There's so many. I know I made the joke about Christmas critters the other day. I told my wife that's every year for Christmas we're gonna gather our kids around and watch Christmas critters. She's like, no, we're not. No, we're not.
I looked up their names, and I don't know if I can pronounce one of them. Ignignot
Yeah, they're
and,
really weird names.
and Air.
Yeah.
And okay, you might be too young to remember this, but I do have a story about the Mennonites.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes. You know what they look like, right? Yeah,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
picture
yeah.
them clearly. Okay. When I was a senior in high school, we used to watch CNN Student News,
Mm.
and there was a story about someone doing graffiti of these characters, and people thought it was a gang or a cult that was trying to send a message. I don't remember what city it was in, but those of us in the class who had watched this show were just losing it.
It's the Moonanites.
Man, early
Our
2000s.
gravity knows no bounds.
Do you remember the Foreigner Belt episode?
Oh. Vaguely, I remember.
Yes, you're cold as ice. And, I don't know, they click the belt or something. But what about South Park? Who were some of your favorite characters and episodes?
My favorite character is Butters. I love. He's so innocent and gets in so much trouble. That's like my favorite character for sure. My favorite episodes, man. There's so many good ones. I really like the one. it's racist as all get out, but I find it so funny is the the one where they go whale hunting, or they're trying to protect the whales. And it's because the Americans told the Japanese that the whales were the ones that bombed them, not the Americans. So they thought the whales were the ones that. So they were going around killing whales for Hiroshima. It was so messed up, but it's the one that gets me every time because they're making fun of. I forget his name, but he was the guy that like embezzled a ton of money for a whale foundation to save the whale foundation. And so they were making fun of him and stuff like that. So yeah, it's
That's all you have to do to get rich is make up a Save the Animals Foundation.
pretty much. Well, he got caught, so he's not rich anymore. But for a while he was.
For $1 a day, you can sponsor this whale in the Pacific Ocean. Oh my God. Oh God, this is a good trip down memory lane. I enjoyed that.
We if you really like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and South Park and stuff, when me and Nick, because Nick has a show called Audio Sketch where he covers different animation and stuff like that. When we get to the South Park Aqua Teen Hunger Force episodes, we're gonna have you on because we're gonna go all the.
I sadly am not as well versed in South Park, but I've seen a few episodes, and I just love how they don't care. Everybody is subject to be made fun of, which comedy is the great equalizer. I can't. Do you know who Tom Segura is?
Oh yeah, I love Tom Segura.
He's made jokes about, like a year or two ago. He made a joke about Louisiana, and I got really excited because, first of all, nobody talks about Louisiana that much except for
I would be the same thing about Oklahoma. Like, oh wait, Oklahoma joke. Let me hear it.
He went to Lafayette, Louisiana, which is like 2 hours from where I live, and it's really Cajun, like think Waterboy. Okay, they're civilized over there. It's just there are people with thick accents, and he was just making fun of.
There are people with alligators.
Yeah.
And people eating alligators and saying the women are the devil.
There are those people. I don't hang out with those people. But he met a guy at a bar, and he couldn't understand what he was saying because he had a thick Cajun accent. And Timmy and I were watching it. We were laughing our butts off because we know those kind of people. We were just so honored, like you said. Yeah. Oh my God, you're recognizing us, and they're
talking about us.
They acknowledge our presence. And there were people, when I was using Facebook, some of my relatives and people I know were saying horrible things about Tom Segura and how he was so awful. And I'm like, you guys, have you never heard of a comedian? Where have y'all been?
And Tom's not even the worst. Tom's actually pretty tame to some people. So
we saw him in New Orleans about a year after it happened, and he alluded to it, of course, the people in that audience who had paid to see him, they of course loved that he did that. And he said he did some genealogy, and he found out he had a relative from that city. Who were some of your favorite stand-up comedians?
My favorite is Dave Chappelle. His new stuff is really good. I do like a lot of his new stuff, but his first two stand-up specials are just front to back so good. I can't repeat a lot of it because that's not for me to say, but it's very funny. It's very, very funny from front to back, and I could probably recite the whole thing. I've watched it so many times. Dave Chappelle, Tom Segura, Anthony Jeselnik. I love John Mulaney. I really hope he gets better. I heard he had to go to rehab, so I really hope he gets better. I think those would be my big ones. I used to watch so much more stand-up comedy, and I just kind of with Netflix now, there's so many different ones that I've never even heard of. I'm like, man, I'm just behind on all this stuff. But Jim Gaffigan, I do love. I find Leslie Jones really funny. I really find Leslie Jones funny. David Spade, I got to see David Spade live. That was cool. Yeah. He came to when my wife worked at a casino, a restaurant in the casino. when we first started dating, and so he actually performed at a casino, and so I got to see him live. I saw Jim Gaffigan live. So those are the two big ones I've seen. Joe Rogan was supposed to come to Tulsa this year, or last 2020, got canceled.
With Dave Chappelle, right?
Yes. Well, Dave Chappelle was going on tour with him, but I didn't know if they actually confirmed if he was going to be at the Tulsa one. So that one was kind of in the air. But that was one I was really want to see. Oh, and Hannibal Buress. Hannibal Buress is his bomb water bit is one of my favorites of all time. I love it. Oh, and Daniel Tosh. How could I forget Tosh? Daniel Tosh is like Jeselnik, but he's more upbeat, so it sounds even worse. Like it sounds like even cruder. He sounds like he's happy about the things he's saying. So
I don't understand whenever people get mad at comedians. I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't. And I mean, there's sometimes where there's like a joke that doesn't like kind of rubs me the wrong way, but like I don't get mad at them. Like it's like there's other stuff that probably rubs someone the wrong way, and I laughed at it. So it's kind of like, it's one of those things. Like with South Park, like I think they do a better job of it. Like when they do like a Jesus joke, it's a little in better taste. But then there's like some people made Jesus jokes where I'm like, I don't really like that. But whatever you want to do. So I can understand that, but I'm not going to get mad at someone. I'm not going to be like, oh, he's a terrible person. They're doing a job. They're trying to make you laugh. And I know personally, like I've tried to make jokes that didn't make people laugh. And like, that's just how it goes sometimes. You got to throw stuff at the wall. And so I'll listen to like a lot of like comedians podcasts, and they all say that. Like they all go to the Improv or the Laugh Factory, and they'll try all these different jokes, and a lot of them don't work, but they take the ones that do, or they take the ones that kind of work and they build those, and that's how they get their special going. And so, but there's a lot of time where they make a lot of jokes that do not work, even the professional one, like the big time ones. So
that's a hard job.
Yeah,
that is hard. Did you mention Bert Kreischer?
I do like Bert Kreischer. I'm not a huge fan of his stand-up though. Like I like him and Tom on their podcasts. They're really good together. But like Bert, like I just like I don't know. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't for me. It's kind of hit and miss with him. But I do like Bert. I like his when he thinks he has a Diet Coke at school and it's like a Coors Light. He actually took a Coors Light to school and started drinking it at a parent teacher conference.
I was just wondering because I like you had mentioned Tom Segura, and I know they're really good friends, and someone else, Bill Burr, is friends with them too.
Yeah. Bill and Burr and Bert Kreischer also have a podcast together as well. So, and they talk a lot about cars. Weirdly enough, that's like what they talk about mostly on there is just cars. And I'm not a car guy, so I blank over, but it's still fun to watch or listen to.
Well, have you ever watched the Jerry Seinfeld show on Netflix, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
Yes. I love that show. I only watched like the first couple of seasons because it was like on Crackle, I think, when it came out, or it was on something weird, and so I didn't get to catch up with everything. And then went to Netflix, and it's got like a lot more seasons on it that I'm like way behind on. But yeah, I also love Seinfeld. That's another one. But again, I like the show more than I like his stand-up, and in the show he's like my least favorite character. So it's like I appreciate him, but I'm like So
who is your favorite character on Seinfeld?
It's George. George is my favorite character. George is like, and I like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, and he said that George is basically himself. Like Larry David based George off of himself. So I was like, I understand it because I love Larry David. Like his characters are just, they're really like grumpy. They're like really logical. They don't, and so I like George. I like Kramer. I like Elaine. And all the side characters on that show. Newman. So Newman's one of my favorite characters. So.
Oh man, TV shows. Do you have a favorite TV show or a few that you'd like to? I mean, we talked about a few, but any others?
So my favorite TV show that I've claimed, and I like a lot of different ones, but the one I claim the most is Futurama. That's like my favorite TV show. But then like I love South Park. I love It's Always Sunny, Seinfeld, Community, just a ton of like, and I've never been really into drama TV shows. I watch maybe one every now and then. So I like Breaking Bad. I watched Lost, The Wire, Better Call Saul, which is the Breaking Bad prequel, and then that's kind of it. Like and Chuck, those are like there's like a very few dramas that I'll get into. TV shows kind of like last in my priority list, except for like the sitcoms because they're 30 minutes. I'm eating something, I can watch it real quick and then be done. Bob's Burgers. I know you love Bob's Burgers. That's another one of my favorite shows. I don't know who my favorite character is, but I think it might be Linda. I like and that's weird because in real life I would be like, you are the most annoying person I've ever met. But in the show, I love her character. And Jean, I love that show. It's so good.
It's a comforting show too. It's a really good background show as well.
Yeah. And it's like, I think it's got a lot of heart to it. It's kind of like what The Simpsons used to be and what Futurama is like, there's a lot of heart to it. Whereas Family Guy, it's like, I don't know. Something's not there anymore with Family Guy. It's like, I don't know. It's just kind of like cheap, easy jokes that I could have made. Or like, if I feel like I could have made those jokes, like, I'm not impressed. But if, like, Bob's Burgers is kind of like a wholesome kind of family show too. Like it's it's wild. There's crazy stuff that they do, but it's also kind of like family based and it's not too outlandish, and so I really like Bob's Burgers a lot.
You make a really good point. People have pointed this out on just forums or different things, that the family is comfortable and they're all comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah. They all at the end of the episode, like end of the day, they all like each other, whereas you watch Family Guy and like everyone hates Meg and like Stewie's want to kill his mom. Whereas Bob's Burgers, they're all family at the end of the day. They're all like a normal family that has wild scenarios. So
they make it out okay. They work together, and I think they generally care about one another. And the parents are very supportive of their kids' idiosyncrasies.
Yeah. Just wild. Jean's like, Jean wants to make music, and then Louise is kind of like, she's really into business and stuff like that. And of course, Tina's just boy crazy, or horse crazy or whatever she is at that point. So she's the horse episode makes me laugh every time.
Oh, where she takes horse riding lessons.
That one is also funny, but I'm thinking about the one where the horse like would poop and then like Louise would make messages with the
cow.
Oh no, the cow. That's right.
Melissa.
It was the cow. Yeah, Melissa. Like thought the cow was trying to speak to her and stuff like that. Just
it makes me want to live there a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love the show. It's so good. And the fact that they're all guys outside of Louise makes it kind of even more funny.
I love it. I could have a whole dang episode, whole podcast.
Hey, I'm trying to get Nick to watch Bob's Burgers so we could do an episode on that too, and we'll have to have you on that because he has not watched. He said he's watched a few episodes, but like, man, I think it's the best animated show, like animated comedy show today. Like that's still coming out with shows today. I mean, South Park also up there, but South Park is like you get a season maybe once a year. It's and they get 10 episodes, whereas Bob's Burgers is like constantly putting out new episodes and they're all really good. So.
I mean, come on, Tina manages to hit a parked car.
Yeah.
What is not to love about that? Is there a certain video, and here's making me think, is there a certain video game world or cartoon world or any world that you would like to visit if you could?
See, I think about these and like I feel like Futurama would be a cool place. And I love like just all the idea of like all these aliens and mutants and robots and humans living together. But I'm like, there's a lot of things that could like kill you there. Like, but like that, maybe that's just based around the Express crew and not just, everyone else. But then I'm like my favorite video game worlds are like BioShock, wouldn't want to go there. Skyrim, probably wouldn't want to live there. Like, it's just a lot of different places where I wouldn't want to live there. I like to visit. I wouldn't want to live there. I wouldn't want to worry about dragons coming down on me every day. And like BioShock, you would never want to live there ever. Druggies and giant robots, and no, thank you.
Mm-mm. Well, what are some of your earliest memories of video games, you would say? Like, what did you grow up with?
So I thought about this the other day because I saw that you ask a lot of people this question. I was like, well, I wonder what is mine. And then you were like, hey, do you want to do a 1v1 interview? I was like, well, good thing I thought about this because I really had to think about it. My first console was PS1. I don't know whose it was. I don't know if it was my biological dad's or the dad that raised me, or if it was like my grandparents that they gave to me. I really don't know where it came from, and I never found out. Like, it was just there. And I had that thing probably till I was 8. And then I got a PS2. But the PS1, like, I played a lot of football, a lot of college football, a lot of NFL football in there. Because football was my first love. It really was. Because and we might get into this later with trash talk, but I could name all the Dallas Cowboys player when I was like 3 years old.
No.
I was addicted to watching, they would replay recorded games on the tapes and stuff, and I would just watch it over and over again. And I would like watch the people introduce themselves and who they were, and like that was like the first. So that was like my first passion was football. But then like I played Final Fantasy VII on there about when I was 8 years old, and I was like, this game is weird. And I had to like wait till I got older to really understand what I was doing. I've had a Wheel of Fortune game. I had a Weakest Link game. I had Crash Bandicoot, of course, and Frogger. There was like a few, Gran Turismo, stuff like that. Just very, very calm, very tame games that were on PS1. I didn't have anything like, I didn't have the games that I would fall in love with later. Like that, the games I played as a kid, like I still play football and stuff, but like I played a lot of weird, like the Weakest Link game was like a game show that doesn't even exist anymore. Well, actually they brought it back. So, but
They did?
Yeah, they brought it back with Jane Lynch. She's the host now. So it's like
Fitting.
So, but then PS2 I think was the one, and I had every console late until the Switch. The Switch was the first console I bought day one. So the PS2, I ended up playing like all the games that I fell in love with later, which was like the 3D platformers with like Ratchet and Clank, arcade racing games like Burnout 3. And then like RPGs like Persona and Final Fantasy X, and then just like I had like an Atari anthology game on there, so I played all the old Atari games on there and stuff like that. And then around that time, I also got a Game Boy Advance, which is when I played all the old Nintendo games. So that's when I first played Mario. My first Mario game was Super Mario World, and it's still my favorite Mario game of all time. Like, I love that game. And so like that's kind of how it all started with was those three consoles. I think those are what really built me to love video games.
What do you think it is about video games that makes you love them so much?
So I don't really know. I like, not to get like too deep on it, but like I had a lot of health problems when I was a kid. I had a lot of bad asthma problems, and I really wanted to play sports. Like, that's really what I wanted to do, but I just couldn't. Like, health reasons why my mom kept me out of it. I'd pass out and stuff like that. So like being able to like live my dream in a little ways was like, that was enough for me to really connect with it. And then after that, it was just like, I just like playing games now. Like, I don't play football as much as I used to, but that was like football and basketball and baseball. That was like the big things that got me into it. But then when I started playing other games, like I just really enjoy it. And I really like I am not one of these people that play games that are like I gotta play everything or I gotta play for this certain reason. I just play to have fun. As soon as I stop having fun with a game, I quit it. Like I just don't even. I just like well next one. So, or if it's got like a really good story that I'm into. There's some games that I have trudged through that I didn't find fun, but I wanted to know how the how it ended. So, but I think it's just like another way of good storytelling and just a way to pass the time. And I played so much of it when I was a kid that I just think it carried over to as an adult to where I just it's like a part of you at that point. It's what else would I do? And
Yeah.
and I think I enjoy it more than movies because you're a part of it, and TV shows because you're a part of it. You're like a part of it, and especially when RPGs came out where you made your own decisions and stuff like that. That really got me into it. So
I call them virtual storybooks.
yeah, which I actually really do like some of those. Like Coffee Talk, I have that on
Oh,
my I
yeah.
have that on my list. I'm ready to play it, so that way I can listen to the interview you did as well. So I
Oh,
have that podcast hold off to the side so I can play the
oh,
game
good, good.
first.
That dude is fascinating. He's so
Yeah,
nice. And I had no clue when I was playing that game that it was an Indonesian company that made it.
really. Well, I saw the name. I was like, that's not an American name. I knew it had to be somewhere. So, but it looks really, really cool.
It it's so cozy. It does a really good job. Actually, we're hoping to do a Talk the Walk episode on it.
Yeah.
If you play it in time and you're interested, maybe we could
I
have
have to
a
get on it. I got a Nintendo card, so I need to see how much it is right now. I only buy games like really on sale. There's very few games I'll buy like purchase. Like the last new game I bought was Red Dead 2 because that was like I gotta play that day one. But most of the time I wait till everything kind of goes on sale. I get like a gift card for Christmas or my birthday, and I'll just like buy as many games as I can. And the Coffee Talk is on my wish list though. I'm really excited for it, and so I might have to play that so I can join in on you guys.
Yeah, we're maybe February-ish or March. I mean, you know how life is. The best laid
Yeah.
plans of mice and men. But it's a very comforting game, I find. And
Hmm.
they do you're really going to appreciate how they bring in real world issues
Hmm.
in I don't want to say not a serious way, but it's kind of subtle because it's all conversation and makes you think. It makes you think like,
Yeah. Have you played the game Valhalla?
no, but I know about it. The bar
Yeah.
one.
I, yeah, the bar one. That one is really good. I highly suggest that one. I played that on my Vita. I don't know if it's on Switch, but I highly suggest that game
It looks
as
really
well.
good. And
Mhm.
you're a fan of other walking simulators too, right?
Yeah, the first one I ever played was Gone Home, and that one has like nothing's really topped that for me as far as walking simulators go because I had no idea. I remember reading the article about Fulbright when they were making that game in the Game Informer magazine. Because my grandma would pay for the GameStop rewards every year, so I'd get the Game Informer magazine. So that was like, because it was like my birthday, so like every year on my birthday, I would get my subscription renewed. And I remember reading about like this same game sounds kind of cool. Like you don't fight anyone, but you're just like walking through this this house, and it looked kind of scary. So I was expecting like jump scares, and then nothing ever scared you. But you were like, it's gonna come eventually. It's gonna come around eventually. There's gonna be some and then you end up finding a really like touching story about this girl's sister, and I'm like, wow, this is not at all what I expected. And like then you go back and play it again, and you start to see all the little things that they put in the game. They're like, oh, this is why her dad says this and her mom says this. And this is why her sister acts this way and stuff like that. So it's after that I played like Firewatch, and everybody's gone on the Rapture, and I have to be in the mood to play walking simulators. I like them, but I have to really be like, all right, I'm just going to, and so that basically means don't be sleepy because I will fall asleep. Yeah, especially especially if there's a lot of like reading
Hmm.
involved. But it's like reading a book. So like reading a book, I can't be tired. I'm gonna fall asleep. I'll fall asleep. So it's one of those I got to be in the mood for. So
I'm the same way. I have to be because I'm like, okay, this could get heavy. this
yeah,
could, this could take a
yeah,
turn.
yeah,
And oh man, and I think that for a lot of games, I can't picture any other medium doing them justice, like a movie or a book or a TV show.
yeah, yeah. I think seeing the game there is like I don't know because and maybe that's kind of like maybe it kind of limits the creativity part of it. Like when you're reading a book, because like you're trying to imagine all these different things, like all the like you're imagining the world inside your head and the scenery inside your head and what these people look like inside your head. But if you put it in a game, it's like it does that for you. So now you can really focus on the words, the story, and you're really digging deep and you can see all the, flashbacks and context. Because there's books that I read them like I don't even know what they talked about like midway through. Like I don't even remember what they talk about. I just remember how it begins and ends. And so with games, it's like you start to see like how it all fits together, and it makes the story more coherent. So
That's a really good analysis,
yeah.
Austin. Thank you for that. I didn't think of it that way. It's what kind of books do you like to read? I know you mentioned reading earlier, but I didn't know what we talked about the genres you enjoy.
Really anything. I used to read a lot more nonfiction. A lot of history books, sports books, like biographies. Just kind of like learning about different people and stuff. I really made like a push to like read more fiction, um, just to like give me a different broad perspective of books and stuff. Like I read Lord of the Rings, and like those are my some of my favorite books ever. But I really didn't read a whole lot of fiction outside of like children's fiction when I was a kid. As I got older, I just didn't care for it as much. I think it's because I've kind of like dulled myself to where like this isn't a video game. Like if I read a fantasy book, like I'm like I could be playing The Witcher or Dragon Age or well, like or if I'm reading a sci-fi book, I'm like I could be playing Mass Effect and all this stuff. But then like so I started really opening up to it and like reading books that I would never really thought about reading. I still read a lot of nonfiction, but I am getting more into the fiction books. I'm actually reading a book now. The book I'm reading now is called Critical Failures. It is about these group of friends that play Dungeons and Dragons. They call it C&C in the book. Um, and so they put out an ad on like Craigslist for someone to join their crew, and someone does, and he takes it way more seriously than they do. They're drinking, having fun or whatever. I don't know if you play D&D, but
I haven't. I know what it is, but I haven't
you
played
know
it
what it is.
yet.
So, they're drinking and just kind of goofing around and stuff. Well, it turns out this guy that they invited has like this magical dice that puts them in the game, like actually in the game, like the real. So they're actually living their characters that they made. They're like real life death consequences now. They're trying to find a way out. It's a really really good book. I haven't finished it yet, about halfway through, but I'm really liking it so far. And so I'm getting more into fiction. I will say that more into it.
Nonfiction is one of my favorites too. Just
Yeah.
I don't know, learning about. But fiction, it takes the right fiction book, like you said.
Yeah, you got to find one that just connects with you. And I think I was so picky that now I'm just like, all right, I'm going to find something that I'm even like remotely interested in. Read it. If I don't like it, then I can always, I can cancel a book. I can leave that book alone, but it ended up being like, and it's also really cheap to read. You get a library card, you have so much access to books, like stuff like that's the one thing. Like, man, you can save a lot of money by just reading books instead, because you don't have to pay for a subscription or anything. It's kind of the cool thing about libraries. You kind of forget about them. Like, oh yeah, I could just get free books whenever I want. Like that's a thing that we have. So I'm actually really enjoying that too.
I wish they would. I wish they would add a coffee shop to libraries.
Oh, that could get dangerous. then people would never leave. Because we have the closest Barnes and Nobles to us is probably like $40. And like I never want to leave that place. I just want to look through all the books that are there. But problem is it's all expensive. it's like and you're like, oh, this book looks $40. Yeah, just and it seems so it's like it's someone's blood, sweat, and tears they pour in that book, but it's like to you, it's just like it's just a stack of papers for $40, like kind of a thing. So, but that was someone's blood, sweat, and tears they really put all their time into, and that's what they are trying to make their money on. But I just can't get over it. Like, I don't want to spend that much money on a book.
Well, it's probably also their publisher is getting a cut, and Barnes and Noble is getting a cut. So they're probably getting a significantly smaller.
Yeah. So and that's one thing. And this is crazy. I know someone on Twitter who has their book, and they were selling it, and they said that it's actually cheaper for you to buy the digital book, because their physical book, they have to ship it, and the shipping costs so much now that they're losing money. They're actually paying you to, like, I think it said it cost them $1.60 basically for you to read their book if you buy the physical version. And I was like, man, I thought about buying your book, but I'm gonna buy it digital now, so you can keep the money, So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's for everyone, but he's a small time author. I don't want to mispronounce his name. His name is Jono and then Pech, Pech. He's actually making a game for the Switch called the Trigger Witches, which I can't wait for it to come out. But yeah, he has a book, and he's talking about that on Twitter. It's like, man, I'm gonna buy that on digital now. I'm not gonna buy that physical.
I had no idea, Austin.
Yeah.
I would think they'd make more money. Oh no. Okay. Is he wearing like a Superman?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna follow him now. So thank you for that. That's really cool.
He's a real cool dude.
Well, you were talking about games, reading, music, and we talked about how you're on the PlayStation podcast or on LAN Party, and you mentioned you love sports, and you're on Trash Talk, which is part of Boss Rush Entertainment. So tell us about Trash Talk. I want to know about some of your favorite sports and some of your favorite athletes.
Oof. My favorite sport all time is football. It's by far. I love it, and I really like the NFL more than college. I loved the college football when I was a kid, but the more like I got older, like there's a lot of politics involved in college football as you dig into it. It's like not. It's just like, I don't know. It kind of ruins the experience for you. It's all about money, and none of these college kids are getting paid, which the NFL is also, but you feel less bad about it because these guys are getting paid billions of dollars every year. So it's like no big deal. These college guys aren't getting anything, and there's a lot of money involved in their schools, and like schools need, like big time football schools, that stuff rakes in their money, like just rakes in money for them that they, have. So kind of ruins that, but I really grew up loving football. I like basketball quite a bit. I like hockey. I watch hockey a lot, but I don't follow it. It's like I don't keep up with all like the players and stuff. I just like really watching it. And baseball and stuff like that. Sports is like what me and my brothers connect on, because my brothers do not care about video games outside of sports. They don't play it. They're the ones that buy NBA every year and Madden every year, and I was with them as well. Like we would just play that every year, and that's just kind of what we were into. So that's kind of what I connect with them the most. My brother actually, the first game he he got into was Red Dead 2. He's like, this game is awesome. And I was like, man, that's a rough way to start, because now every other game's gonna not seem as good.
As pale in comparison, because I haven't played it, but I watched Timmy play it, and I am so invested in this story.
Yeah, it's and even if it's not like your favorite, you can't deny how just like great it is all over. I know Ed tries to, but I refuse to listen.
He doesn't like it.
He says he's like, I got some things about Red Dead, but I'm gonna hold them to myself. I'm like, that's right, you hold them to yourself. Do not talk slander on Red Dead.
He said Majora's Mask was not creative to him, so I was like, you're going in timeout, sir.
Timeout.
No, we're giving him a hard time.
That's why I love him, though. He's not afraid to say his mind either on video game stuff, so I actually like that. But yeah, so we play a lot of sports games, and then I just really like the game. Like I said, it was my first love for sure. Like and Cowboys were not my favorite team, but they were my family's favorite team, my mom's and her parents and stuff like that. So I was kind of raised on the Cowboys. And then so I would like watch re-recorded games of that all day. Like that was kind of like I had watched Toy Story, but I didn't like that was like the only like kid movie that I watched. I didn't watch like Lion King or anything until I got way older or anything like until I got way older because all I did was watch football. I just would watch.
Loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. So and that passion is still growing. You know, I still love it to this day. I watch every chance I get. When football season's here, don't bother me. I'm watching football kind of a thing. I'm staying on different threads. I'm listening to see what people think about this team and that. So yeah, and so me and Logan kind of just like we both love sports, and so we just kind of got more into it. He likes soccer a lot more than I do. I don't care about soccer. He likes baseball more than I do. I like baseball, but I don't watch it as much. And so and basketball and football, I think we might both like football, but I definitely think that I love football more. I'm willing to put that out there that football is definitely more. It's just it's like a passion of mine. So, because like when people say what do you like, I don't say sports. I say football. I love football. I like sports. I love football. So, yeah.
Have you had the opportunity to go to any games?
So I haven't been to an NFL game. I've been to several OU, which is Oklahoma University college games. I've been to some Tulsa University games. So I've seen college football. I do want to go to an NFL football game. Hopefully this pandemic gets over soon. I actually got an opportunity to go to a Dallas Cowboy game last year, and I didn't go because I needed that last vacation day I had for the year for my wedding. So I was like,
man.
So that is the only reason why I didn't go. It's like because I needed that day for like the wedding rehearsal and stuff like that. I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. So, but that was the only reason why I didn't go because he works for like an insurance company, one of my friends, and he's like, you are the biggest football person. And so I was like, I can't go, man. I really want to, but I can't do it. And so I was like, invite Aaron, who's the guy I make music with, and Aaron doesn't care about football at all, at all. So Aaron went with them, and the fact that Aaron got to go to an NFL game before I did was like still a thought to me. But they went to like a press box, and they got like free food and free alcohol and all that stuff, and it was like,
I love my wedding.
Why did I use all my vacation days? Yeah, I mean, no, it's not that. It was more like, why did I use all my vacation days? Like, if I could have saved one more day through the year, I would have had it. But my work is very strict on like being late tolerance and stuff like that. If you have these to strike, you're out. Like, you're late, you get a strike 3 times, you're done. Like, that's kind of like a thing every year. And you have to have like make sure your vacation covers you and stuff like that. If you run out of vacation and you're late, then you're automatically fired, even if you've never been late before. Like it's pretty strict. So I was like, I can't do it.
That is slightly terrifying.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are like this time of year, which now our work's over for the rest of the year. So it's like, this is the last day. So it's like, man, we get our vacation back next week. We don't have to all worry about running out of this and having this amount covered for us and stuff. Because I've seen people that worked there for 20 plus years, they ran out of points and that was it. They let them go, and they'd worked there for so long, and it's pretty crazy.
That seems a little.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. Like, why would you shoot yourself in the foot if you have this really good employee who is human, and now you're gonna have to go through the rehiring? I don't know. That just makes me feel a bit more humane.
It's corporate America. It's a big company kind of thing. So what do you expect?
There are companies out there though that have a human side to them.
Yeah.
So I encourage whoever is listening, if you're looking for a job, try to get. It's luck. It's all luck, and you don't know until you're in it.
Well, like Target. When I worked at Target, it was totally like you called in sick, that was it. Like if you called in sick like 50 times in a row, then yeah, they're gonna like, yeah, you can't come back to work. But like you called in sick, and like they were more understandable, because I worked there when I was in college, but then I worked at a factory job before that, a factory job now, and it's just, if you're late, you're late, kind of a thing. So yeah.
Do you think you like to stick with it?
Yeah, I love where I work at. It's just one of those things where you just got to be smart. You just got to be prepared and stuff like that. It's worth it for the stability and the fact that I get to come home and not worry about it at all. Like I don't have to worry about a thing when I come home. I don't think about work. I don't do anything, and that to me is like worth it for me. And, I could get paid more doing something, certain things, but if I have to take it home with me, I don't want to do that. I'd rather just not think about it when I come home. When I come home, it's all about home and family and whatever passion projects I want to do, stuff like that. So
you need that work-life balance.
Yeah.
And so like we started working from home with my company, and one of my coworkers said, "Oh, one of the only problems is it's really hard to turn it off." And I'm like, when it is 4:30, I turn off my laptop.
Do you stay to your own schedule, like your same schedule?
Yeah, we have expected hours, and what I do does not require me. Like I write proposals and stuff, and the clients are not going to be looking at that at 6 p.m.
Right.
And if they are, it's just, which is, I am very lucky that I have a job that I seldom stay on past 4:30, and then on Fridays we have half days.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, if there's an emergency, I'll leave it on, but it's very, very, very rare. And some people, not necessarily with my company, but just life in general, I've noticed some people equate being busy but not for stuff they care about as some sort of status symbol.
Yeah. And I don't like it. I'd rather stay busy with stuff I want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have to do stuff that I don't want to do. If I can make the same amount of money doing what I love to do, I would never go to work again. But I still need to pay my bills and stuff. So I do that, and then the rest of the time I want to do stuff that I want to do. I want to do stuff that's going to fulfill more of my life than like making a lot of money and then never really spending time with anyone with that money. Like you just have it. Okay. So
you make a really good point, Austin. It's money is important. Yes, it is important to be comfortable and financially secure and everything, but if it's costing you what matters at the end of your life, like if you're on your deathbed, I would hope that someone's first thought is not, "Oh man, I wish I could have stayed longer in the office," or whatever.
Yeah. No one, I don't think anyone would say that on their deathbed, that they wish they would have spent more time working and working to something that doesn't really matter. Unless you just don't like people, I guess. If you don't like people, then go ahead, I guess.
I had one of my coworkers said that people who it blew my mind. It blows my mind sometimes how I'm someone who likes to stay busy, but once I retire, if I'm able to retire one day, I would like to volunteer and like stay busy doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
But there are people who just keep working and working and working, and I guess that's what they love to do. But he said, "Oh, that's because they don't have hobbies."
If you don't have hobbies, like I guess that's if you don't find there's people that are like, "Oh, I don't play video games. Do you like music? I don't like music." What is that? What do you do? I don't know. Just work. I'm like, all right. And some people that, hey, if that is for you and that is what you're passionate about, it's fine. I'd rather do other things with my time.
That is 100% true. Well, Austin, is there anything else you would like to talk about? Like, do you have any future shows or any goals coming up? Any projects?
No, I don't really think I have too much. I'm looking forward to 2021. I'm looking forward to growing our shows. I'm looking forward to growing Crossroads and LAN Party. We really want to focus on getting guests this year, so I really want to focus on getting different people on LAN Party. Trash Talk. I want to, I'm not going to do it all year round but I'm looking forward to seeing like who all joins the show and doing that stuff. And then maybe kind of once I get our music stuff settled, I'll come out with new shows or something, or I will bring back my music podcast. But I think I'm gonna have to change the name on it because there's too many the same name as mine, and I'm like, and then I kind of want to revamp it to something else. So we'll see. There's a lot. I'm like this podcast. I'm scatterbrained. I'm all over the place, and so I have a lot of ideas and want to commit to all of them, but I can't. I don't have. There's no one has the time to commit to all the ideas that I got. So it's just unless someone wants to just pay me, not asking for a lot of money, just enough to pay my house, my car, and some food, and maybe a video game here and two. And yeah, I'll stay home and do all this kind of stuff. I love it.
Well, I realized we didn't talk about short-sighted cinema.
Oh yeah. So short-sighted cinema is actually really more my friend Corey's podcast. Him and his wife Kelly are on it. And then we've had different people, or we've only had 2 episodes, but we had someone else come in and guest on the second episode. And it's really just about we're all Christians, so it's clean, it's family friendly. So you don't have to worry about any too much perversion on there. So if you like something to listen to with your kids or stuff like that, and really it's just about short-sighted cinema is basically like we don't know anything about movies, and movies really to me is like kind of like like I like music, I like video games, I like books, and then movies and TV shows. This show kind of gave me more of a reason to watch movies that I wouldn't normally watch. And so that's kind of why I'm excited about it. And we enjoy it. It's not every week. It's about once every 2-3 weeks. So we just kind of throw out episodes. But and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. We did the Star Wars Christmas special this last episode, and it was rough. I had to watch it in 2 sittings because my brain couldn't take it. So the first time through, so I was like, I've got to come back to this. I cannot watch it all right now. So it's pretty wild. If anyone's never seen it, go listen to that podcast. And because I wouldn't suggest that you go watch it, just go listen to the podcast instead.
So save your time and listen to that episode.
Yeah, just listen to that episode. It's an acid trip if I've ever seen one. That's for sure.
Well, I think we covered all the bases here.
Yeah,
and
I think we did.
What I love about 1v1s is going off on tangents, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I do make notes just to make sure we're covering, have an idea. But it can be a little bit like LAN Party where we veer off. And that's where I think I enjoy interviews like that, where I learn something random about somebody.
Yeah. But you're not gonna ask people like, what's their last meal on the on their deathbed,
I mean, I can if you want.
Or make a Mad Lib about Logan's erotica or anything like that. I mean, you could definitely do that.
Man, that's a fun show. Y'all have to check it out. But Logan, is there anything else you'd like to say or advice or anything you'd like to
advice? I would say just if I could say I can learn anything from 2020, it's just like not everything is always as bad as it seems. And yes, 2020 was a rough year. I understand. But for me personally, I was able to really look back and just like look at different things I needed to change. Forgive those who you think don't need to be forgiven. That was like a big thing that hit me. It actually helped with a lot of like other issues that I had, like anger issues and stuff like that. So that to me, like 2020 helped me grow. And so I would say 2021, don't look for it to be easy. Just look to grow, instead, don't, it may be easier to grow this year, but don't waste that opportunity, really. And hopefully when we're back to normal, connect with your family, connect with your friends, go out, go do things. Don't be scared to do it. Cause who knows, we might have another pandemic. We can all stay in our house at that point. So.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Austin, for making the time to share a little
Yeah.
bit about yourself with people.
Thanks for having me. I've never done one of these, so I didn't know. I don't even know if I was like, I don't even know why. I don't know even know why I could. I don't know if anyone's gonna even watch this episode. So
I think they will. I think they will, because I think people like learning more about the Boss Rush people.
Yeah. I definitely enjoy these. Yeah, I definitely enjoy these.
Well,
I'm kind of looking forward to listening to Logan's and see what he says, because you never know. Like me and Logan in podcasts, I mean, we maybe do 4 or 5 hours of podcasting every week for the last almost 2 years, and there's probably still stuff I don't know about him. So it'll be interesting.
Secrets coming out.
Secrets.
Well, where can people find you if they'd like to follow you?
So you can find me on Twitter at PlayStaustin. It's PlayStation and with my name at the end. So it's a PlayStation pun. So you can really just find me there. But like if you want to be friends on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, all my codes are in the pinned tweet. You can check all the podcasts there as well as links for my music there as well. So all of them will be in the pinned tweet and in my bio. So.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much again, Austin. And you can find Boss Rush Games and Boss Rush Network Entertainment wherever you listen to podcasts. I think it's at Boss Rush Network on Twitter.
Yep.
Now. And we also have a YouTube channel where if you haven't checked it out, you can actually see our faces while we talk.
Yes. But remember to check out, if you want to listen to the Crossroads Twitch, go to Exodus 803. It's on the Ron's channel. It's important to know. It's not on the LAN Party channel. It's on the Ron's channel. So if you're looking to watch us live on YouTube or Twitch, check out Exodus 803. Gotta plug that one.
Thank you for that, because it could be confusing.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.
All right, see you all.